Let's talk about cars, because we're car people too. And by car guys, I mean car guys. I've been in an S chassis basically my entire drift career. Started with one that was somewhat similar to this, and now there's this iteration of this. This was actually my chassis that I had in Formula D in some way, shape, or form. Now it has a V8 in it and different body kit and whatnot, but I absolutely love it. Fully Gktech'd out. That one's fully Gktech'd out. That one's fully Gktech'd out. Big SR guy now also, apparently. Got 3 of the damn things. And one's sitting in a crate somewhere. This would be the old SIL 80, I guess, for you guys that are not from the United States, or just a normal 240SX for us here. Got an SR, it's left-hand drive, got the pop-ups, but it's still a coupe. I've never owned a hatchback. Tidbit of information, or an S14 or an S15, ever. Big S13 coupe guy. So all of my S chassis have also only been race cars, meaning no interior, raised seats, uncomfortable, horrible. I didn't even know what back seats of an S chassis looked like until I got this car, which has full interior, uncracked dash, every panel is in there, the seats are actually decently clean, SR swapped. We just have a few little things to get this thing up and going. Spirit Ray kit, rear wheels that I ordered the wrong ones, so I had to buy new ones, but those are 9 weeks out, so that's my bad. Not a real wheel guy, so this is new to me. But I'm pretty happy with this thing. This thing's gonna be a cool street car, and I'm excited to drive an S chassis around again. Can't really take that on the street because it says police on it. I can register it, but I would probably just get pulled over for impersonating a police officer. You know. This one has been my Drift Week car multiple times, and although it has no Gktech parts on it but lug nuts, I thank them very much for being my official lug nut sponsor. Then we have one of 2 Z's that actually run and work. The other one's in a garage outside. It's more exciting, it has a supercharger and stuff, but that's all right. This one gets driven all the time by pretty much everybody. Your cameraman currently blew the radiator up out of this thing because I didn't know the thermostat was bad. And then it happened again to somebody else, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I should change the thermostat instead of every other part around the thermostat, including the head gasket and the radiator. Anyway, this car has been through some stuff and probably has more laps than any other car that I have ever owned, including that S13. So this thing is an absolute unit. Got the full Gktech front setup, got the knuckles on this thing. I have more angle in this car than I do in the S13. Can I say that on TV? I 100% do. It's crazy. Even though this thing only has like 230 horsepower. Don't need it, but I got it if I do. Moving on. Again, I'd like to thank my lug nut sponsor. Currently the only parts on the 8.6, but I had to channel my inner Takumi Fujiwara, get my initial D on, and here I am with a Toyota for some reason. Doesn't really fit in with the rest of the collection, but gotta be JDM, even though it's not JDM, and it's 4AC. Y'all wanna see a carburetor real quick?
The kids watching this don't know what a carby is.
No. Look at that piece of magic right there, ladies and gentlemen.
What is it, 32, 36, whatever?
Yep. How did you know that?
I'm not that young.
Camera guy knows some stuff. Anyway, that was a huge pain to get working because none of us know about carburetors. And it dynoed 62 horsepower. This, also, again, thanks to my lug nut sponsor, I was able to complete the build by attaching the wheels to the car. This is one of 3 Rocket Bunny kits on C5 Corvettes on the planet, so that feels pretty cool. And it's the only one that's Midnight Purple 3. And even though these are not considered real wheels. They're the only set on the planet of 12.5 and 10.5 fronts, custom offsets like negative 529. I don't even know. Can't even count. This thing is stretching 315s on it. That's not even a thing that's supposed to come out of your mouth. I love this car. I haven't seen it in a year because when we were filming the episode of Runs Good to actually paint this thing, they kept opening the doors and like moving all the stuff when it was getting painted, and sand just went. So we got it and had tons of pinholes in it, and then we tried to buff it and then it ruined it, and we had to repaint the whole thing. So I haven't seen it in a year, but here it is, back in its glory. Now we just need to get it tuned and go do some skids. I can't talk about the PBM e-brake because the PBM e-brake pops out of the cup holder. Gktech one doesn't, because it doesn't exist.
I'm beeping that out.
Yeah, I know.
Leaving it, but beeping it.
And behind door number 8, another SR20. This one's covered up by an intercooler and mounted the wrong way. Isn't that strange? I love this car. This was the first, coincidentally, this was the first car I ever bought in Gran Turismo 1 in the used classifieds of that game. And that's why I bought it, because this is kind of what got me into cars, technically. Because that was when I was still in high school. Holy crap, that was a long time ago. For those of you that are like, God, what is that ugly ass thing? Is a 1990 Nissan Pulsar GTI-R, aka the baby GT-R. It's got an SR20 with an S15 turbo from the factory with ITBs, solid lifters, and a top mount intercooler. And the all-wheel drive system from a GT-R, so it's got a 50-50 split Atessa system in it. I love when car manufacturers do stupid stuff, and this thing is stupid. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that one. We've covered all the cars that actually run. Let's go look at the ones that don't. That's also my S chassis, that rolling shell. The Empire one. That's Ross Petty's S15. For those of you that don't know who Ross Petty is, he's an old FD driver that sold all of his stuff and bought a boat and sailed the world. Look at that. You remember when I was talking about that 4AC? I have a solution. It's right here in the form of beams. All those IS300s that I have don't come with that motor, but the Japanese ones do, and I want to put this in the 8.6, but that's later. This is a heartbreaker. Saved up my pennies. This was my first JDM purchase. Was a 1990 TH1 blue Nissan GT-R, which I drove for approximately 2,000 kilometers and blew the motor up.
Doesn't sound like you and RVs.
No. So the thought process was this. I was going to buy a car that came with the RB so that it would just survive. And 2,000 kilometers later, started knocking, and here we are. It's been at the engine rebuilder now for well over a year, and I don't know if it's ever coming back. At this point, it just makes me cry every time I come in here. So we're gonna leave. This car, in its exact shape that it is in now, was on a TV show called the Hooptie World Championship, where we were supposed to take a $5,000 car or less and make it compete in drag racing, off-road racing, rallycross, drifting, and then a combination of all of the above, where we took home 3 medals, 2 golds and a silver. Not bad. It has the supercharger from a Toyota Tundra that we adapted to the Stillen kit, a 50 shot of nitrous, and this thing ended up making like 398 horsepower with the 50 shot. Not too shabby for a POS. So this one's also Gktech everything that existed when we actually did this. This one survived jumps It survived off-road, it survived running over cactus, it survived everything that we threw at it. So if ever there was to be testing done, we put it through some paces and it still runs and drives to this day. Duct tape, spoiler and all. And that is the tour of Gktech USA and all of my 1990s shitboxes. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace!
So strong. You're so tall, piece of shit.
Nar.
What? Yes.
Nar.
Yeah.
Oh. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to Gktech USA. We have many parts for many cars. So we've got dudes that are basically here for you. That's this way.
Still trying to think about me.